Hey everybody, here we are. Happy Sunday, second time in a day. I was on with Rob and George earlier, and it's all good. So hopefully everybody's still hanging in there. Just in the past half hour, we saw a huge dip in Bitcoin, but that's just the nature of the beast. So don't let that stuff worry you guys. Anyway, let's go through this content. We've got a lot of stuff to go through today. So ready? Go. These are all the top questions that you guys have on the top of your mind, and I try and address them as best I could, and what I would do if I was in your shoes. So here we are, weekly Q&A. And you know the deal, math, money, freedom. If you're not subscribed, please like the content and subscribe to the channel. You don't have to smash anything, just if you care to. Anyway, disclaimer, none of this is financial advice. As you know, it's edutainment. So the first question came in, and what price would you back up the truck on Ethereum and Solana, from Howard R? Interesting question. So what I like to do when I pick my sniping prices, you've seen these before and they haven't changed fundamentally, but the first one here is my ETH entry. The two places where I would like to nibble on Ethereum, like typically for me, because I have a lot and I'm trying to get more of something else, would be $2,500. But for those that don't have any Ethereum, these two good entry prices here that would be based on the chart. One is about 28.60 and the other limit is about 31.61 for a nibble. That would be Ethereum as to where I'd enter. As you can see, Ethereum has been very strong lately. These are the fib levels where it tends to bounce off in support. In fact, right now, if we look at Ethereum, it just completely wicked down, and this is where we snipe. This is where we jump in and grab stuff. So Ethereum fell from, what was it, 3,500 all the way down to 33.80. So 130 point dip. And my limit order here is 31.60. So we're still, $180 off of the limit where I would enter. But again, that's where I would go for Ethereum right now. And in terms of Solana, where do I back up the truck? So most recently, what I did was I like to layer in, but I layer in increasing proportions. So the two big areas where I typically buy Solana are 136 and 121. Now, when I buy at 121, it's typically 3 to 5 times the size of the amount that I buy at 136, depending on how I feel, how much cash I have, and what my goal is of how much I want to own. As you can see as well, Solana has been on a bit of a tear, shooting up from 121 all the way up to nearly 180 today. It's going to 200, but there's a little bit of volatility right now. The two entry points here, again, 136, 121. But if you don't have any, you might want to consider the level here of about 142, 151, somewhere around there. It's hard to say because it's moving so fast, but that's what I would do. So, Howard, thank you for the question. Next question is from Walter K. Let's pop this up. Should I convert my DOT to Link? I have a feeling DOT isn't going anywhere. Then again, Chainlink has been quite disappointing as well. So Walter K, interesting question. And this is a lot more difficult than you could imagine. So let's analyze the situation. First of all, if we look at the platforms themselves, I have a few names up here. You'll see that Polkadot has outperformed Link with the exception over the last 7 days. And Link tends to run up with Ethereum, and Ethereum has been on a run, but Link has been lagging Ethereum. Now, Polkadot, I believe, is going to have a huge Q4, and so will ETH, and therefore Link should move as well. But the question is, since Link is technically behind, what should we do? So let's have a look at the chart and see exactly what the chart tells us. So when we pull up the chart here real quick, we'll see Polkadot compared to Chainlink. And you can see that Polkadot has outperformed Chainlink over the last 2.5, 3 months by 113% versus 54%. And remember, 113% is a great return. So swapping from this perspective, from something that's has run to something that hasn't run yet, could be a good idea. But it's very, very important that we analyze exactly what's coming down the pike. So this is the most important thing. And this is where we have our conclusion. And in full disclosure, I own Chainlink and Polkadot, and I have a lot of both. So for Q4, I think Polkadot will be amazing. They have an upcoming parachain release, and And Gavin Wood said, we are ready to launch very soon, recently as 2 or 3 days ago. And there's a flood of projects on the Kusama ecosystem. And Akala is set to become their DeFi hub of Polkadot. And I believe there'll be a lot of trickle-down dollars from platforms that have run a lot to ones that have not run yet. So, not financial advice, but I would hold Polkadot. Sorry for going a bit long-winded, but I wanted to make sure we were kind of thorough with that one because it's not a simple one, but I would hold Polkadot. So next question, and I do hold Polkadot as well. So in your retire on crypto portfolio, do you plan to hold most of these coins until 2030 or sell some of them at the top of bull cycles and take profits and re-enter at lower prices and possibly other coins? And if so, what percentage would you use to take profit and which coins would you sell? So, Fit Paula, this is an extremely hard question, and there's many dimensions. So I'm going to lay out how I actually manage things. So first of all, it's important to know about what they call the efficient frontier. This is how you manage your portfolios. So when you are in the left, bottom left corner, this is typically the safest assets with the best return. And number one, of course, would be Bitcoin. Number two would be Ethereum. Number three would be Cardano, etc., etc. And you go to Chainlink, you go to your Elrons, and all the way up at the right, I'd have my Chili's. That'd be the riskiest asset that I probably hold today. Now, the key to understand here is when you look at this chart, the higher the standard deviation, the higher the risk of the asset. And the more you go out the curve is where I typically sell first. And either when they hit my price targets or I want to get into a different asset. Now, that's not the end of the story. The other things that I take into account as well is what to sell. So for this bull market, when we talk about the portfolio for 2030, that's a very long way to go out. So everything could change. You know, I could be, who knows, maybe switch all that crypto into a proxy or an equity or some other new asset that doesn't even exist yet. We don't know till we see. And that's why I always say keep your tap dancing shoes on, because everything changes all the time. So for this bull market, I sell tokens when they either reach my price target, or I layer out based on fib levels, or I plan to keep some forever, or as long as I can, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, perhaps subject to 2.0 success, and Solana, they'll definitely be keepers for me. And depending how far we go and how fast we go will determine exactly what I sell, when I sell, and how much I sell, and how long I wait on cash and what I wade back into afterwards. So it's very hard to say, but there's many, many dimensions. It is not an easy question. And as I said, as you guys ask more and more questions, they get harder and harder to answer. But that's the way to think about it and frame it up. There's no straightforward answer. Now, we'll be coming up with exit models for every single crypto that I own and follow, and I'll be sharing those all with you as well. So please subscribe and stay tuned. And hit the bell notification as well, because sometimes my videos come out at different times. So this is from MLB Catcher 12. As new small cash amount investor, is it best to focus on 2 or 3 coins or focus on a coin like Solana, which has the high upside? So this is, again, another tricky question, but I want to share a little bit of wisdom from Warren Buffett. Basically, diversification may preserve wealth, but concentration builds wealth. So if you can be on the right horse at the right time, that's how you make wealth. Now, other people say that diversification is for people who don't know what they're doing. So we'll see. So I like the way you're thinking, and I like things in threes. So what I would recommend, what I would do, not financial advice, of course, is how many tokens. So for this bull market, a small portfolio with not a lot of dollars, no more than 3 would be great. I like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana as good, safe, no downside plays for this market. And also get a feel for the space, trade in and out, and watch positions grow as we enjoy Q4. Hope that helps. Next question is, what's your take on Burry's put strategy against Tesla? This is from Cole. So I like these Tesla questions, equity questions. I've got a very big position in Tesla. I love the company, and we'll see. So this is interesting. So first of all, the history. Burry went short in March, and he doubled down again in August, ramping up his bet against Tesla, and reveals a new wager against Cathie Wood's ARK Invest. So he's just one of those guys. Some people could call him a permabull, but I think he is probably on the wrong side of history. And you know, investing is a hard game, and he is an expert, and he did nail the property downfall. But when it comes to disruptive stocks, maybe not so good. When it comes to crypto, maybe not so good. Although he likes Bitcoin, but I don't exactly know where he's going. So let's look at the chart. So I, in full disclosure, shorted Tesla pre-earnings in January 2021, or very early Feb. I can't remember the exact date, when it was at 850, because I was sure there was going to be a dip post-earnings. And that's what typically happens 70 to 80% of the time. But I covered at 700, and I am long in the money leaps. I also own the stock, and I am a swing trader. So I like to play tops and bottoms with different types of options. And Michael Burry probably does the same thing. So although he probably lost money in his March play, or he maybe made some money, I made a little bit of money, I'm sure he did too, his psychology is to come back and fight and win. When he is adamant about a position, he doesn't want to admit he is wrong. And this is part of the whole reptilian brain thing. You always want to win. And again, he might be a bit of what I call a perma bear against things like Tesla and other assets that he doesn't like disruptive stocks. So from his perspective, he could have got in twice to short. If he got in the last 2 or 3 months, you can see from the chart here, he got wrecked. So he's not doing well. Now, there's another fun little meme. He was right on the real estate situation, but he has not been right on disruption. And he also lost on Bitcoin. So that's Michael Burry. Can't win them all, but he's just adamant about shorting Tesla, and Tesla has so much value, it's ridiculous. Like, per my calculations, I think it has a PE of 77 today based on current earnings. And we have another Tesla question coming up now as well. So everybody's interested in Tesla. Would you wait to buy Tesla closer to earning report in October, or jump on it now? From WeRabbit50. So this is a tough question. So most stocks, especially hypergrowth stocks, tend to be buy the rumor, sell the news with earnings. And Tesla, everybody's factored in so much hype, so much good news, gigafactories, crushing numbers, vehicle production, all that type of stuff. So I think waiting till after earnings, there could be a little bit of a dip. 60 to 80% sure there will be a dip after earnings, so I would not buy in this run up. But I do see Tesla going to 800, 850 over the next couple of weeks. So I hope that helps. Next question. This is from Espresso Perfection. Oh, you have to make me a coffee. Why does Solana usually go up when Bitcoin dips? Let's look again at the chart and have a look. So first of all, Bitcoin is a much larger asset. It's nearly 20 times larger in terms of market cap as Solana. Therefore, it's not as nimble. It takes a lot more money to move it. And second, they are correlated 70 to 80% of the time. But when they do move, like for example, if Bitcoin pumps, Solana pumps harder. And you can actually look at the charts today and you'll see exactly that happening just today. And this is from the last few weeks. So you will see they are correlated much more so than you think. And there are other assets that aren't, though, however. But Bitcoin and Solana are kind of 70 to 80% of the time correlated. So hope that answers that question. Let me see this one. If Bitcoin is eventually going to be bought up completely, I don't understand how it would work as a currency. If it is so valuable, nobody wants to sell. From Positive Vibes. Great question. A lot of people have this exact question out there. Now, first and foremost, Bitcoin is more like a store of value, but El Salvador and Strike are testing out the kind of currency hypothesis. But remember as well that everything has a price, and Bitcoin will be converted to Satoshis as we go forward. People will no longer be thinking about, buying when Bitcoin, etc. No. But a Satoshi is, I think it's 100 millionth of a single Bitcoin. And once Bitcoin hits $1 million, one Satoshi will be the equivalent of 1 cent or 1 penny in Europe. And that's kind of the good way to think about it. So basically, if you have $2,000 in Bitcoin, you would say you have 200,000 Satoshis, or a cup of coffee could cost about 300 Satoshis. So that's the kind of way to start thinking in terms of things. 300 Satoshis at 1 cent. If Bitcoin goes to $1 million, will be a cup of coffee in the future. But with inflation, a cup of coffee probably costs $30. So we'll see. Anyway, hope that helps. But don't worry about it all being bought up. And then one of the beauties of Bitcoin is the fact that it's so divisible. And everybody needs to start thinking in terms of Satoshis. To the next question. Cardano is still dropping. Time to sell, from Patricia G. So this is a hot potato, but I had a lot of these Cardano questions. So let's just look at where we are. And I know it's been a painful time for some people, but again, you have to remember as well that Cardano is a huge asset. It was worth over $100 billion in market cap when it hit $3. So it moves a lot slower, kind of like other things. So if you look at, for example, Ethereum performance versus Cardano, Cardano has outperformed Ethereum over the last 90 days and 60 days. So it's doing better. It's moving faster. Recently, a little bit slower. But when you compare Cardano to Solana or Elrond or Phantom, it's a very, very different situation. But these other assets are much smaller. So that's the first thing to bear in mind. Second of all, my thesis has always been the fact that I believe, and I'm convinced, more so now than ever before. Back in March and April, I was convinced that Solana will flip the Cardano market cap. But I thought it was going to happen in 2022. I didn't think it would happen so fast. So I do believe this is coming. So when I started investing in Solana, it was like 5% of the market cap of Cardano. Now we are at, what's the number there? It is nearly 80%. But basically, Solana just needs to go up another, I think it's 39%. 39% in terms of growth before it flips the Cardano market cap. And that'll probably happen before the end of the year. So we'll see. What I do plan on doing is selling my Cardano. I've got a small bag. Some at $3, some at $3.50, some at $4, and then pour it into other positions. So that's kind of my plan. But I think right now, Cardano at $2.25, whatever it's at, is very, very cheap. It should definitely be at least at $3. And that's when I plan to layer out of it. So hope that helps. Next question. Thoughts on RLC? From Spy v Spy. Spy versus Spy. So I don't look at these smaller plays. I think it's about a number 130, 140. RLC, or also called iExec. It's an off-chain computing and decentralized oracle. And it's up against the behemoth that is Chainlink with a combination of off-chain computing. So I much prefer chains that have one focus. They're not multi-capable type of things, because it just takes away from the focus and competitive nature of the place. Also, it is too small, and it's up against Chainlink, and it'll be hard to dislodge those guys, and I just don't like combo plays. The tokenomics, however, is very good, but the ecosystem is weak, and the team is not perfect, so I prefer 8 players. And the easy way I kind of sum this up is the winner takes most. So always choose the winner or the number 2 player in the category and follow those guys. All the guys that are like player number 16, player number 25, player number 11, odds are 99% of the time they don't make it. So you might get lucky. You know, who knows? iExec may displace Chainlink, but I very sincerely doubt it. So be careful there. Let's check this out. Crypto.com. Is it safe to use? From You Know the Drill. This is an interesting one. So Crypto.com is not an exchange that we really analyzed in great detail, but it appears to be extremely legitimate, heavily regulated, very secured. It even offers customers FDIC insurance for balances up to $250,000 on your fiat, not on your crypto, of course. And that is a good level of insurance that not all exchanges have. And it shows it's very well regulated too. And also, they have a lot of endorsements, or they're like co-marketing lots of sports events and teams and stuff like that. And brands would not associate themselves with Crypto.com if it was going to fail, because that would tarnish their brand. So from that perspective, Crypto.com, yes, you know the drill, very safe. So that's that one. So next one, if you had the choice to take Bitcoin rent, royalty, or contract payments instead of dollars, would you? From MT. That's the easiest question of the day. Hell yeah. I would, everybody should try get paid in Bitcoin. And I think I covered a week ago a survey of 1,000 people, how they'd like to get paid. I think over 60% responded, yes, I'd like to be paid in crypto. People now know their fiat is debasing. So you just cut out the middleman and just go straight to crypto. So that'd be great if you can get people to do that. So the good news of today as well, considering whales like to manipulate stuff, but they're beautiful creatures in the ocean. What are we going to do about whale watching? Well, today we have sponsored 3 orcas. We did one big whale called Howard for Howard before. And your contributions, our donations, big thank you for all the super chats. This money all goes directly to helping animals in need and other people in need, etc. So this money goes towards helping these three animals. We got Oreo, Cookie, Mike, and Ocean Sun. And they are endangered in the Southern Ocean and the Saleh Sea ecosystem. And this money goes towards protecting them down there. So thanks all. And again, let's do some Q&A and hope everybody's doing good. Let me swap out cameras here and see if anything's happening out there on the market. Yeah, Bitcoin is flat. That was crazy. It just pumped up $1,400 like in minutes, and then it just tanked right back down again, which shows me it's manipulation. So for those who need to snipe, might be a good time to snag a little bit. And don't be shaken out, everybody. Don't be rattled by these movements and games. They're just par for the course in this business. So let me see. First questions. Oh, I got a lot of questions today. Okay, German girl in Virginia, you're first today. Thank you. How do we navigate the end of this market cycle? Will you continue to DCA into your top holdings, or do we collect powder in the saddle line, or both? So I don't buy any more Bitcoin or Ethereum at this stage unless they hit Bitcoin 41K. I still buy at that level. Ethereum 2400 for me because I have a lot, but I'm putting all my money into what I believe will be the winner of this market cycle, which will be Solana. So when I buy Solana at 136, 121, hope that helps. Now, in terms of investments, I invested a lot of cash recently. I was about 22% cash, went all the way down to 5% cash because I bought a lot of options on miners, bought more MicroStrategy, bought more Bitcoin, bought more Aave, bought more Solana. So that I used all my cash that I was expecting to use for market crash, and I just layered in that way. But from now on, we'll see. Again, I'm going to build up a little cash position again if I can by doing things like selling options and then using that money to layer into what I see will be the best and most fun investment. Caligula at Benemortazia wants to know if you have tried the Dutch drink Chocomel. It's their national treasure. I've been to Holland many times. I used to work in Utrecht, but I have never tried that. I don't like hot chocolatey things. I just prefer coffee. And the coffee there is quite good. So thanks for the fun question. SpongeBob, your thoughts on Algorand? I like it, but I prefer other SCP plays. In fact, right now, if I had to choose between Algorand and Polkadot, I would go Polkadot for this next quarter. Again, think of it as jumping on a train, being on the fastest train for a position and moving over. But that's it. Justice for all, my Metallica friend. Have you done covered calls? And what do you think of Palantir and space for that purpose? So I do a combination thing. I do synthetic longs and then I sell call options out of the money against my synthetic long. I call it the third leg strategy. And that's what I've been doing for decades now. So it's like kind of like a poor man's covered call almost on steroids. And I do have those positions in Palantir right now, but I do not invest in space at all. So Palantir, I'm looking to get into more, but it has to be in the very low 20s before I buy more. Cost basis is around 18. Gunther Hodelhosen, it's funny. ETH versus Sol in the next 4 months. Would they appreciate similarly, or would Sol have more torque? Sol will definitely have more torque, I believe. Again, think about the size of the asset. You have Ethereum, nearly 400 billion. You have Sol, 50 billion. So Ethereum's 8 times larger, and it takes a lot more heft to move it. Per that slide I showed earlier with Cardano, etc., you can see that Cardano, because it's a big asset, Ethereum is a big asset, the two of them really performed a lot less than some of the other assets they were compared to. So that's typically it. Broke Bank Vegan. We just got access to some Lyra funds and want to invest them in a Bitcoin proxy. Is it best to choose one? For example, MicroStrategy or spread across a few? I think that mining stock I picked last week from analyzing all the miners with over 1 exahash, I think that's a good one. It's called CleanSpark. And MicroStrategy. I think a lot of money is going to go into the miners because it's considered a clean way to invest, an ESG friendly way to invest in Bitcoin right now. And a lot of funds are being ranked based on their sustainability and environmentally friendliness. Now, if you have a miner that is, 95% carbon neutral, you get clean coin, as they call it, or whatever, clean Bitcoin. It's like blood diamonds, but now you got a clean Bitcoin. So I think that's what's going to get a lot of money right now. Now, the MicroStrategy play, right now it's pretty much on par for what it's worth. But if an ETF launches, that will have a slight downward impact on the price of MicroStrategy too, because it'll be used less as a proxy, but it'll still have a ton of value. So, hope that helps. Rokas Bagdonas, does Alchemist have a future, or is it better, in your opinion, to convert it to something more safe? Yes, I had a look at Alchemist, and it is definitely out there in the risk spectrum. And I prefer the safer, bigger assets. I don't need 100x. Very happy with a 2x or 3x or 5x or 10x. But the 100x stuff is very risky. So I would be very, very careful there with Alchemist. Ryan Promer, are you projected to reach billionaire status in your lifetime? And what are you doing with your wealth? No, not at all. Not at all. And I don't care much. I got a very simple standard living, so I don't need money. I don't spend a lot of money. That's it. So I've actually, I invest as sport. It's my hobby. I don't invest for money. It's just more about winning and getting returns. That's why I do it. But it's not about the money, not at all. And also the mission of giving back to this community. That's what it's all about. And that's the most rewarding thing for me. Steve Pat, I know many exchanges have limits on how much you can withdraw for fiat. If you want to take advantage of large amounts out, is there one exchange that will do this? Multiple exchanges. Yeah, Coinbase Pro, very good at funding in fast. Even if the ACH doesn't clear, they give you full credit up to about $50,000 instantaneously. And pulling money out, same thing. You can move a lot. So I think there are some limitations on some of the other players, but FTX and Coinbase Pro seem to be the best in that regard. Jeeves, George plans to open a bottle of expensive whiskey. Rob will jump in his pool and live stream. What do you plan to do when Bitcoin hits 100K? I will do whatever you want, Jeeves. Whatever you want. You name it. I do have a little fun surprise coming up for you guys, though, around Halloween timeframe. So that'll happen before, of course. Simon Eastwood, what do you think of Injective Protocol? I had a look at that a while ago. Let me try and refresh my mind. It scored really bad on the Crypto Compendium, bottom 48th percentile. Yeah, it's one of those small ones, number 164. Usual stuff, a lot of inflation, a lot of centralization, etc. It's just not very good, I'm afraid. I haven't had a crypto question like that in a long time. It's almost nice to get asked again. But yeah, I wouldn't touch it with a 40-foot pole. Nazari Doresh, have stablecoins USDC ever survived bear market? Yes. Tether's been around a long time. It survived no problem. And remember, it's tied to the dollar, so nothing can happen. Frankie the Whippet, 15 ETH, 400 SOL. I want to exit the market fully after this run. My goal is to make as much profit as possible. With that, any thoughts on my portfolio? Anything you would add, move? If that's all you have, it's very concentrated. Again, everybody needs to have some Bitcoin, period. It may not move as fast as these names, but it's the safest. You never know. Something could blow up along the way. So having all of your eggs in two baskets is dangerous. So I'd recommend diversifying a little bit, Frankie. And, the future for Bitcoin is still extremely positive. So don't think it's a kludgy thing. Capono, I have half a Bitcoin in Robinhood and 3/4 of Bitcoin in Coinbase. Should I move this to FTX ASAP? You can't get your Bitcoin off Robinhood yet till they get their wallet. Leaving it on Coinbase is fine. If you want to get yield, you could take a third of it and stick it on Celsius. Many, many options, but I wouldn't worry. In fact, one of the good things about somebody told me a story. They got hacked. They were SIM card swapped on Coinbase, and they watched their account being drained. But they were fortunate because 40% of their crypto was actually on Robinhood. So, there's a positive side for not being able to get your crypto off Robinhood. So they got wiped out on the Coinbase side, but their 40% bag is safe. So that's why I think it's a good idea to have your crypto spread around. And again, don't have everything on one exchange. And, self-storage when you have a certain amount. Yes, definitely. Kryptonite in my pants. Hey, James, you smashed it on DCA. Question. When my mother calls me, how do I know it's really her and not an imposter? You're very funny. Ask her a secret question that only she would know. So that's a good way to authenticate her. Or what I say is if anybody is being, say, not sure about who is on the other end of the line, like imagine it's your banker or somebody pretend to be your banker, or somebody saying, oh, your credit card has been compromised, or we need your social security, all that stuff. 99% of the time, it is fake. So ask them to be on FaceTime. Once you can look into their eyes, you can tell a lot when you look into people's eyes, if they're honest or not, or if they're calling from somewhere in, I don't know, some far-flung corner of the world. So that's how you tell. But have a piece of key data to be able to authenticate to the other party, or look at them face to face. It's real simple. Everybody has FaceTime now, or WebEx, or something like that. So great question and very funny. Mindfed, sorry. 70% of all SOL is staked according to staking rewards, with 6.5% staking. Wouldn't most staking at 6.5% hurt SOL's price? Although, why only 6% of all ETH is staked? 77% of all SOL. That's just a big thing. The people that actually like SOL like to stake it. It's very popular. It eclipsed the amount that Cardano has staked. Cardano was the staking champion for a long time. And yeah, there's a very small amount of ETH staked. And that always confused me, considering ETH 2.0. So I'm not sure exactly mind-fed as to why that is, but I know a lot of people in this community that have Solana, they like to stake it on Exodus. So people just love their passive income. And a big thank you for your donations as well. Joseph Punti, Tuna, how are you, man? Cheryl Lawler, Thomas Lean, always there from Norway. Playing with Pastels, Jeff Hammerberg, Kryptonite in my pants, Dog One, would love an update on the animals. Yes, we're trying to build a kind of like a gallery of all the animals we sponsored and frame all the pictures. We've got like 10 or 15 framed at this stage, but we'll build a whole room dedicated to them all. So a big thank you, everybody. And S and Ariane G, this is my number one stop for financial advice. This is not financial advice. This is edutainment, Ariane. So thank you. Stephen, thoughts on Near Protocol? Really solid smart contract platform similar to Polkadot. I analyzed all the top 20 smart contract platforms, and the top 3, to remind everybody, Ethereum, Solana, Polkadot. Polygon. The top 3. Near didn't make the top 10 at all. But we will track it because things change, and sometimes they get new enhancements, new money, new adoption, etc. Codfuel.com. I have 6.2 Bitcoin, 15 ETH, 71 SOL, along with Matic, Cardano, and others. Should I start selling ETH at 8,900 and hold BTC long term? Yeah, I think everybody should hold Bitcoin long term and hedge it if they believe, if it goes really crazy. But you're very heavy on Bitcoin, so you do need a little more diversification. Although that's a nice, so like the amount of other stuff that you have is very small in relation to your Bitcoin bag, but it's good. It's safe, and it depends on your goals, your time frame, and your risk tolerance. So if you are risk averse and you have 5 years, you're in a good position. One Brightum, I have 42% Bitcoin, 33% Cardano, 11% Sol, ETH 10%. In your opinion, would you sell ADA now? You're very heavy on Cardano. And per my model, I do expect Solana to eclipse the Cardano market cap. And I'm saying it here live on the internet, so don't hate me. It's just a model. I just look at numbers and I make deductions. That's all I do, everybody. I don't have a tribe. I don't shill anything. I just look at data. That's it. So, yeah, you're too heavy, One Brightum, on your Cardano. Brody 305. What do you think Compound and Thorchain? I want to sell both and go into Sol and Dot. So I nearly bought Thorchain when I hit $3 after the second hack, and I missed it by 1 penny. And I was going to ride it to $9 or $10 and sell. So that's what I would have done. So I can't give you advice, but I'd sell it at $10, or I think it might be a little bit more than that right now. I think Polkadot will have a very good Q4. I just have the spidey sense about it. And if they launch their parachains, and Compound is one that is good. Some people love it. I prefer Aave. So from that regard, let me see. Digital D. I have a stalled 401k, and I'd like to transfer some funds to an IRA with crypto exposure. Do you recommend? And if so, what's the best way to do this? Yeah, if you want to roll over like a 401k to an IRA or an IRA to an IRA, I don't push anything, but apparently the most popular one is iTrust, but the fees are kind of high, but it's safe. and you can do a lot in there. So probably a good idea, especially if you have a 3 to 5 year time frame. It'll definitely be worth it. M4RT3, can you comment on the DKYC project on BSC? I don't look at Binance Smart Chain programs, but let me have a quick look and see if I've analyzed it. Doesn't ring a bell, and it's not in the compendium. The DKYC gaming thing. Yeah. Oh no. This is not good. If it's a DKYC thing, number 3,745, ton of inflation, garbage. Wouldn't touch it. So be careful. Yeah, no, not in a million years. Very, very risky. And it fell 20% today. Brickhouse, what's your favorite nutritional shake, smoothie, and what's in it? I have a video on that. I shared it on Patreon. But basically, a lot of flax, chia, powders, green tea powder, mushroom powders, spinach, carrots, apples, bananas, blueberries. That's it. Blend it all up. But a big emphasis on, all the different powders that are added in there. So, Sid Contractors, many projects you invest in today were shitcoins outside of 300 in 1920. Would the coinpendium and your methodology have been able to pick these projects in infancy? Point being, there may be many microcaps with good potential with blinders that I may miss. Very good point. I have spent a inordinate amount of time trying to find the next Solana, and I've come up empty. And we got better and better at refining the model to be able to identify winners and know what to look for. And there's just not much out there. There might be a few gaming ones that we're trying to get a handle on, like the Metaverse Plays, Gaming Plays, the next Axie Infinity. But it's hard. And again, it depends on your philosophy. There's people that are just desperate to get that 100x, the 300x type return. But we'll see. Now, in terms of the projects, I saw so much going sideways in 2017 that I was very nervous about ish coins, but I started getting heavy into Ethereum early 2020, and then layering in things like Cardano and other stuff like that over time. So that's where we are, but you're dead right. But the risk when you go out that curve and you go to the smaller names, it is extremely dangerous, and I can't stress that enough. But we do have, we know the places, we know the spaces, we know the technologies that'll work, and we are keeping track of anyone's out there, but literally anything that's outside the top 300, never found anything good. So, but trust me, I'm always looking because it's fun. And if I do find one, I'll be sharing with you guys first. MS, for 3 kids that range from 2 to 5 years of age, 2 to 5 years out from college in California, putting 300 per kid in each of their 529Bs, what portion instead put into Bitcoin, etc.? So the 2 to 5 year range, the 2-year range makes me concerned because, we could be in a bit of a bear market. Maybe not, but it's possible. So from that perspective, I'd be worried. But for the 5-year range, I'd put it all into Bitcoin for the kids fund. Now, there's always a 1% chance that Bitcoin could blow up, but there's an 80% chance it's going to be worth a lot more than it is now. So that would be a good way to do it. And I like that. In fact, a lot of exchanges now support that DCA capability. And I like the way you're thinking. I tried for so long to convince my friends and network, everybody that had kids. I said, when Bitcoin's at 3,000 and 6,000 and 9,000, just buy 1 Bitcoin per kid. Just, buy it. Didn't turn away. And nobody ever did it. So I like the way you're thinking, MS. Thomas Lean, explore Harmony. I had a look at Harmony, and the tokenomics are really bad. It came from all of the smart contract platforms. It was one of the worst. So don't like it. So Thomas, big thank you, but be very careful. Curtis Tamez, 2/3 of 90K portfolio in ETH, anticipating higher gain short term. Should I shift now to Bitcoin, which is 1/6 portfolio? Balance is a miscellaneous of good else. Good, you have good quality altcoins. 2/3 in ETH. Yeah, you're too heavy on ETH. Wait for, I think when ETH gets to about 4,000, maybe take some off, sell a third, slot into Bitcoin. If it hits 5,000, sell a third, slot into Bitcoin, and then ride the rest up. Keep the rest, and that'll balance your portfolio nicely. That's the way I would do it real quick, or something along those lines. Check out the retracement line. So I do expect a lot of resistance at 5,000 for Ethereum. Chicken wise, will you consider being Batman on Halloween live on the show? I've got something even better than that. So your fun questions are so good. And thank you for donation as well. Caligula from Monica for next time you help out Vucek Shelter. She loves dogs more than Bitcoin. That's so nice of her. Big thank you as well, Kwanale Ndoku, Titublusk in Korea, South Korea. How are you? And David A. Blaisdell. That's all, folks. A big thank you. I'm going to go and do some grocery shopping. It's the one day of the week I leave the house. So see you all soon. Bye.